Welcome to WeVideo. In this series, what I'm going to do is try and give you a quick overview of how to use WeVideo. This happens to be one of my favorite tools to use, and also I think it's a great option for students to express their learning in a creative manner. So a lot of times when I introduce WeVideo to students, I do the same project over and over. I do the same thing actually with teachers too when I introduce it to them. And what I do is I have them do a little project. I call this the favorite food project. And the reason why I do this project is because it incorporates a lot of WeVideo skills. And once the students have practiced or the teachers have practiced the skills in this quick lesson, then by doing so, you have enough skills to be able to think creatively and problem solve in future projects. And so it gives enough exposure that I think students and teachers alike will be successful. And so I'm going to break this down into a lot of different sections. So it may end up being a lengthy video, as it does typically take me about 45 minutes to do this lesson with students. And so we'll get started. First thing I need you to do is go to wevideo.com and you will click on the red G to sign in. If you are in my school district and you have never signed in before, it will prompt you to do some setup as far as choosing your school and whatnot. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to give a quick overview of what's at the top, give you a little tour. So you have your dashboard, which is any recent edits that you've been working on. Projects is where you start any new editing project that you want to do. Media is anything that you have uploaded in your account that you want to use in a project. So that media could include maybe pictures, videos, or even other audio clips. Videos is where you go when you have finalized projects. And those projects will appear there when you have processed them, and you could turn those in or share them out to others. And that's where those will reside. Now, when you work on a project, even when you finalize it and send it to a video, you can still go back to the project and work on it some more and make a new version. So always keep that in mind, that finalizing it, finishing the video, does not mean that you are done and over with on it. What I will ask you to do now is to get this project going. Before we ever get started, I need you to get a picture. And you need to make sure also that it is a royalty-free image. And so I like to use Photos for Class, and I'm going to search for a food. So you need to do that now. I'm going to go ahead and search for a food. This could be your least favorite or your very favorite food that exists. Ready, set, go. Now, what's nice about using Photos for Class is that they have a download button right here. It'll go to your downloads. Now, I'm not on a Chromebook right now, so you're not going to see it from that perspective. But on Chromebook, it would go to the downloads folder. All right, so now that I'm in WeVideo, and the next step I'm going to do is I'm going to start talking about going to the projects and starting a new project. I'm going to go down here to the bottom right and hit Create New Project. It will prompt you to set up your title, and then you choose what style it is. Choose personal in this case. I'm not going to go into the differences between these. You can read those directions, but you need a title and you need to choose personal. Hit next. And if you have never used it before, then what will happen is that you will not see this screen. If you have media already in your WeVideo, this screen will come up. I'm going to hit next to skip ahead. And then I'm going to hit Create Project. Okay, upon entering WeVideo, what you will see is you'll start out on this star button right here. This is your editor. This is called timeline mode. They call it timeline mode because, well, you have a long timeline here spanning all the way across. And those are where you will place your items as far as where they land on the timeline. Right now we're at 0, 0. If you are not seeing audio 1, video 2, then that means that you are not in timeline mode. I want you to work in timeline mode right now. It's a little more advanced. So I'm going to click on the 3 lines here. If you do not see timeline mode, you may be seeing storyboard mode, which is fine and all, but I'm not going to use that today because you can't do layering very well with it. So I'm going to switch back to timeline mode. I want to make sure that you knew that you could switch between those two. Okay, so now that we're in timeline mode, let's get started. First thing I'm going to do is I need some media to work with. So when you start out, like I said, you start out on this star. It's an essentials library. It's fun, different resources that you can use in your video projects, but I'm not going to focus on those today. I'm going to click on this folder right here that says media. And when I click on the media folder, what happens is it allows me to see any media that I have uploaded to my account. You can also upload items from here. So I'm going to start out with clicking on this import media button here. And it'll pop out with a box, and you can import items from your Google Drive or things that are straight on your computer. So if you're on a Chromebook and you click on this button right now, it's going to access your Files app and your Downloads folder where hopefully you saved your picture. I'm not sure exactly where you saved it, but I'm going to go ahead and click on the browse, and I'm going to pull in that picture that I just downloaded. Now that you had a picture uploaded, what I'm going to do now is talk about the other options for uploading, which are to actually just record. And so you can record straight from here. You can record your screen. You can record your webcam. We're going to use our webcam today. And so when I click on the record option, what it'll do is it'll pop up with this box. It gives me two options. I'm going to choose webcam. And in this case, what will happen if this is the very first time that I've ever recorded with my WeVideo account, it's going to actually ask you to download an extension. And so what I will do is when I hit this button and hit continue, it's going to pop up with a box and ask me to install an extension. And when I click on that, it's going to take me to the Chrome Web Store. And in the Chrome Web Store, then it will ask me to add the app or add the extension. And then I hit add extension again. Now, once I've done that, then I may have to hit the record button again to get this screen to come up. If things are running just fine and I hit continue, then what you will see is this box and you will see the picture coming from your webcam. Now, you may get a white box right about here saying, hey, you need to allow access to your camera and microphone. So keep that in mind too. I'm going to hit record here in a little bit and it'll say 3, 2, 1, and then I can go ahead and start talking about my love for pizza. So here we go. Record. Hi, my name is Lance, and and this is where I can make my mistake. If I make a mistake, not a big deal, because when you make a mistake, then you can just edit it out. It's kind of nice. So I can record a new one here, or I can watch it, or I can download it, which you probably won't use, or I can save it. I'm going to save it because by saving it, it'll go to my account. Now, when I do that, it's going to upload into my account. It'll turn blue like this and show that it's processing. Now, something else that you can do while you're waiting is you can actually rename your files while you're waiting for that to upload. If I do a right click or a 2-finger click on an item, then I see a rename option. And in the rename option, I can name it what I want. That one I had already named pizza. And I'll be able to do that to my video here in a little bit once it's done processing. But I don't think you can do it while it's processing. You can only delete it while it's processing. But if you ever have anything that you want to rename, you can do that. The other thing you can do is you can right click on an item and choose to share it to your project. And that way it's associated with this project. Once this is done processing, I'll do the same thing to that one too. Okay, so now my video is done processing. So I'm going to go ahead and rename this. So I'll right click on it and I will rename it to Pizza Love. And I'm going to save that. The next thing I will do is I will go ahead and share it to this project. And that's just actually not as applicable when you're doing a personal project, but if you're doing a shared or collaborative, it's very applicable because you need to be able to share your resources to specific projects. Now, the next step is for us to talk about editing. So here in your timeline, you have audio 1, video 1, and video 2. We're going to start with video 1, and your main video, your main piece element that you want is going to be in video 1. That's your base layer. So I'm going to grab a hold of my video and I'm going to drag it down here in my timeline on video 1. And it's just a click and drag. Now, something else that you need to keep in mind is that you do have the capability of zooming in and zooming out on your timeline. And so this allows you to stretch the timeline out or slim it up. Just depends on how detailed you want to see. That's one tip for you. Another tip that I like to use is that you have this down arrow right here, and this allows you to select how thick this is and what you see. The last option allows you to also see the audio track, and that audio track is very handy when you're video editing because then you can see any dead air. See how I have dead air right there? And you're able to cut those pieces out. And that helps you just be a little more precise. The more you zoom in, the more precise you're going to be, the more accurate. If you're zoomed way out, sometimes things get cut off. So just be aware of that. If things aren't trimming right, you can always zoom in and zoom out as need be. Another tip I'll give you is that you can actually go full screen. So I'm going to hit this full screen button. If you need a little more real estate to work with, then you're able to see a little better. I'm going to hit escape for now. I don't really need the extra space. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start editing this video. And so when I hit play, hi, my name is Lance, and I can get a feel for what I need to cut out. And trimming things out is really easy. You just hover over, and if I hover over this object, it'll say it's called the playhead. So I'm going to move the playhead where I want to put it and what I want to trim out. And then I have this nifty scissors that I can use to trim that part right there. And now I have two pieces that I can trim. You can remove items a couple of different ways. So I don't need this piece anymore. If I hover on the three lines here, I get a trash can. The other way is just to hit the backspace or the delete on your keyboard. If you're on a Chromebook, it's backspace. Either one works, but this object is selected right now, and I'm able to edit that. So now I have some dead air. So anytime I have dead air and I hit play, there's nothing there. So I can adjust that too. To adjust that, all I need to do is click and drag and move my video clip over like so. Another tip that I'm going to give you is that you use a space bar. Space bars help you in order to play and stop your video as you're previewing it. So when I hit the space bar, instead of hitting this button, it does the same thing as this play button here. That allows me to keep my cursor here in this region instead of going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, which takes a lot more time. So I'm going to hit play. My name is Lance, and I absolutely love pizza. Pizza is so delicious because there are so many different ways that you can have it. And not only that, but every single place that you buy it from has its own little twist to it. It has something unique to it. So I'm going to give you some time to go ahead and edit. I'm going to go ahead and finish editing this one and trimming pieces out. Remember, use the scissors and ready, set, go. Okay, next part that I am on. I have just edited my video. I trimmed pieces out that I don't want. The next part I need to do is I need to pull in my pizza here. So I'm going to click and drag, and I'm going to pull this into video 2. And I need to kind of roughly decide where I want to place it. So I'm going to place it right here. If I go to the edge, then I'm able to actually click and drag and make it as long as I want. And I could have multiple pizzas across here. Actually, I could have different kinds of pizza if I were to take more time on this video. But for today, I'm just using one picture. And I'm going to go ahead and play it. Hi, my name is Lance, and I absolutely love pizza. Okay, actually, I need to move it over a little bit. I'm going to start pizza right about here. Now, the thing that you need to consider is that when I'm playing this, love pizza. Pizza is covering up my face altogether, and I don't necessarily want to do that. That's not my goal. So the next skill I'm going to teach you is how to scale. Whether you're dealing with video or whether you're dealing with pictures, you can change the attributes of those items. And so to change the attributes, remember this, anytime I talk about attributes, you double click on the item. And so when I want to change the attributes of this picture, I'm going to double click on it. It's going to take me to this menu, and you have lots of different options. And in fact, if you do this to a video clip, it has even more. And so these are different tools that you can kind of play with up here and try out. Today, we're just merely using the transform feature and specifically the scale option that is located right there. So the scale option allows you to bring this image down to size, and I can move it exactly where I want to place it. Once it's there, then I can even scale it from this screen. So I'm actually able to click and drag these items like so and place it in there however I want. There we go. I think I like where it is. Once you have it placed where you want, then you can hit done editing. And love then pizza. Pizza is so delicious. It pops into your screen. Okay, so we've done quite a bit here. We've edited the video. We've added in an image. We edited the image. We scaled the image, so that way it's the size that you want. The next thing we're going to talk about is how to add text. And so in WeVideo, you have lots of different options. Before I do this, I'm going to add another layer. Here's another skill for you. You can actually have more than just video 1 and video 2. When I click on this plus over here, it allows me to add a video 3. Now, is this always necessary? No. It's just if you have objects that you want running over the top of each other. And so I'm going to add this time for video 3 some text. I'm going to choose the text icon up here. And you can choose whether it's title or a lower third. You get to decide. WeVideo also has some in-season or call-outs that are a lot of fun to use. You can decide how you want to use those. I'm going to use a lower third in this case because I don't necessarily want it to cover all of me. I just want it down on the bottom. So I'm going to choose one of these lower third ones that I think will work well. If you want to preview it, I believe all you have to do is double click on it. It'll show the preview of what it does. Gives you kind of an idea. I kind of like that one. That one's neat. And I'm going to click and drag and put that on my video 3 track there. And you can even extend this out just like you did with pictures. So you click and drag the edge of it. So now when I hit play, pizza is so delicious because there's so many different ways. Pops up like so. I'm actually going to move my pizza picture here a little bit. So to change the attributes of something, remember I had talked about it before, to change the attributes, you double click on an item and you have to double click on that item here in the timeline. So I'm going to double click on this item like so. And when I do that, it takes me to the transform page, but I also have text properties here and I'm able to adjust the text. So now my video clip goes like this. Love pizza. Pizza is so delicious because there are so many different ways that you can have it. And not only that, but every single place. Now you could have the text change throughout this entire video. And a simple way to do that would be to just shrink this down. And you could simply make a copy of it by doing a Control-C. And when I move the playhead over here and I hit Control-V, it actually makes an exact copy of it and places it right beside it, and then I'm able to place it in wherever I want. All right, so we've done a lot of different features now. We've added some text, we've added images, we've added video, we've edited, we've changed the attributes of these items. The next feature I'm going to show you is transitions. So let's go to transitions right here. And transitions are fun because those are the things that make things zoom in and out and whatnot. I'm going to go ahead and just start adding some transitions to this. To do that, all I need to do is I need to click and drag the transition that I want at the beginning or end or in between clips. If I have clips in between, I could actually place transitions there if I wanted to. I'm not going to. Just depends on what type of text you use. I'm going to add this directional wipe like so on the picture of the pizza. Then you also can change the attributes on your transitions. So if I double click on the transition, then I can change how many seconds they are if I want to. You can go down to 0.4 of a second. That is the smallest amount you can do for a transition. And so now I have that one as 0.4 of a second. I'm going to go ahead and do the same. There is an all option right here, which is supposed to change them all. But every time I use it, it never really works well for me. And I'm not sure why that is. Okay, so now I have transitions in. That didn't take very long. Hi. So now it transitions in, and now my pizza will transition in. Pizza is so delicious. And actually, that fits really nicely with my text. Delicious because there are so many different ways that you can have it. Now, the last thing I want to add is audio. I can actually add in some music, and they have music built into WeVideo. You can use free music. If you are paying for this, you can use premium music, which is kind of fun. We are paying for this in my school district, so because of that, I want to go ahead and utilize it. And you can go ahead and check out some of these. Let's do some energetic or cheerful. And that's a good one. I kind of like that one there. Now, to use that clip, what I do is I click and drag it into my audio timeline, and you'll see that the audio clip is much longer than my video. So what I'm going to do is bring my playhead over here, and I'm going to trim it off using the scissors. If the scissors disappears, make sure you actually single click on the audio track. Sometimes I've seen that disappear from time to time, and that confuses people. So now I have this audio clip, and my audio clip, I guarantee you, is going to be way too loud for my video. Hi, my name is Lance, and it is overpowering. So to adjust that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this audio level down like so. And now it should be much more appropriate. Hi, my name is Lance, and I absolutely love pizza. Now that I have that the way I want it, I also would like a little bit of a transition in there. So I'm going to single click on the audio clip, and I'm going to click on this bar here, and this allows me to add a fade. This is the simplest way to add a fade. There's other ways you can do it. There's other features in the audio clips I'm not even showing you. But right now, I'm just trying to get you to get started. So now when I play it, hi, my name is Lance, and I absolutely love pizza. Pizza is so delicious because there are so many different ways that you can have it. And not only that, but every single place that you buy it from has its own little twist to it. It has something unique to it. So I can never really tire from pizza, but my all-time favorite place to get pizza is Giordano's in Indianapolis. I know it's actually a Chicago place, but the closest one to me is Indianapolis, and I really love it. And I love how it has all the sauce and tons of toppings in that deep dish. And you can only eat about one slice. Other than that, it's quite a bit of pizza. So enjoy. Right, so the next thing I'm going to show you is when you are all done, you can finish this. I should have actually probably named this from the start. It will ask you to rename this when you finish it. So I'm going to go ahead and put in pizza is life. And that's kind of fun to do. I'll hit OK. And then I'm going to hit finish. And when I hit finish, it's going to ask me if I want it 480 or 720. I'm going to select 720. And the last thing I'm going to show you is that you need to make sure you select Google Drive. Now, I'm encouraging all teachers and students to use their Google Drive to save this item. And this is kind of exclusive to my school district. Your school district may handle it differently, or if you're using this personally, you may handle it differently. But I'm encouraging everyone to save their final work into Google Drive so that way you have it in safekeeping. If you're a YouTube user, obviously you could use YouTube, but in this case, we're just keeping it in Google Drive because then you can do something else with it later if you'd like. You can always download it, upload it to YouTube, or place it elsewhere. But I like to have it in that storage. WeVideo does have its own storage, but if you are trying to conserve space and whatnot, there are other options here. I'm going to hit finish, and it will process. While it's processing, it doesn't really matter what I do. I could leave this page, I could go do something else, and it's not a big deal. They'll send me an email when it's all done. The fantastic thing is that it will appear in my Google Drive when it's all said and done, and I'm able to use that item from Google Drive to share it out, or I could download it and do what I wish with it.